And in this edition of Top Stories, we'll talk about, will Naveen Babu get his sixth term? Odisha is a state that has been ruled by BJP for the last 25 years. If Naveen Patnaik wins this election, he will hold the record of the longest serving Chief Minister of the country. The question is, what is making Naveen Patnaik tick? His campaign is being pushed by his successor VK Pandian. Pandian is in charge of the department called 5T, which works directly under the Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik. So the issue is, can BJP come back to power? Handsomely. When I interviewed VK Pandian, he said that he would take sannyas in case the party does not get 3/4 in the house. You know, this election you have been campaigning very emotionally. You recently made a statement saying that you will take sannyas. Why?
I said that in case I made an open challenge to Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, the Union Minister, because he has been telling that there is a Hawa in favor of BJP. They are spreading lies that they are having a Hawa in favor of BJP. So I said that, okay, if you have a Hawa, then you should be forming government. I am saying there is a Naveen Hawa in the air. People are very fond of Naveen Babu and they are going to give him a huge majority, 3/4 majority. So I make a challenge with you that Naveen Babu is going to get 3/4 majority and he will swear in on 9th June from 11:30 to 1 p.m. So this is my statement. And if this won't happen, I'll resign from politics. You are saying that you are coming back to, you are getting into government. So will you accept my challenge? I will quit if Naveen Babu won't become CM. Will you do the same thing if BJP won't go to power? That is my statement.
Now, furthermore, VK Pandian also spoke on the constitution not being a major issue. He said that it's a non-issue. Do you feel that the constitution or democracy is in danger?
No, I would not say that. Not at all. Not at all. Indian constitution and Indian democracy is what should I say? It's so strong. I don't think anybody on earth or anybody in the political system will dare to touch the constitution or will have the wherewithals to amend the constitution's basic features. And we have a judiciary also. You can't touch the basic features of the constitution. See, this constitution debate is also diverting the core issues of people. How many people in our villages are thinking about whether constitution is getting changed or not?
And Naveen Patnaik, the man of the moment, said the Prime Minister only remembers Odisha during elections.
Jai Jagannath. More kon mane hochi कि नहीं ओडिशा बासी 24 वर्ष हैला भलो भाबरे जानी चंती किंतु माननीय प्रधानमंत्री आपण ओडिशा को केते मने रखी चंती ओडिया भाषा क्लासिकल लैंग्वेज हैला परे भी आपण ओडिया भाषा को भूली गले संस्कृत को हजार कोटी ओडिया भाषा को सुनियो आपण ओडिसी म्यूजिक को भूली गले मु ओडिसी म्यूजिक को क्लासिकल मान्यता पाई 2 थर प्रपोजल पठाई थिली और आपण 2 थर रिजेक्ट कले ओडिसा रे बहुत वीरपुत्र अछंती केते ना आजी आपण भी कहिले केई जने हेले भारत रत्न पाई कोन ठीक लागलेनी आपण भारत रत्न बांटिला बेले ओडिसा रो वीरपुत्र बिजू पटनायक को भी भूली गले.
On this issue, I am joined by Subir Bhaumik, author and senior journalist, Jayanto Bhattacharya, senior journalist, Ajit Kejha, senior journalist and someone who understands what research means, and Brijesh Pandey in studio with me. Let me straight away go to Mr. Bhaumik. Mr. Bhaumik, what makes Naveen Patnaik tick even today?
Well, it's about time that he called the bluff, because we have to understand 3 things. Naveen Patnaik is a Delhi. He He's not a chest-thumping triumphalist politician. He works quietly, and he has delivered on every single count, attracting investment, delivering, sort of public utilities and everywhere. The state, which was famous, which was identified with, famine, with drought, has turned around in a way that no one expected. And therefore, Naveen Patnaik, I would imagine, if there is one single politician, non-BJP politician, who is capable of being considered as an alternative to Modi, as an alternative PM, he is the man. Because Modi comes from a similar background. He was a state leader. So is Naveen Patnaik. He was never a national leader. So therefore, Naveen Patnaik, you have to understand basic problems with regional parties, such as Biju Janata Dal. They want partnership with a national party, but on strict condition. And this is true about Naveen Babu, this is true about Mamta and many others in the South, that they want their own turf, their own state. They want to be senior partners there. And the national party in state should be junior partner. In the national level politics, it's the national party which will call the shots, and they can expect support from people like Naveen Babu. Now, when that equilibrium is disturbed by a very aggressive, central party which is trying to spread its tentacles in the region, and with a single point triumphalist agenda of Hindutva. That's where people like...
But, Mr. Bhaumik, I would like to take this to my other panelists as well. Mr. Jha, I noticed one thing when I was there for 4 days in Odisha. It's a campaign about Naveen Patnaik. It's a campaign that was not responding. Mr. Jha, that campaign was not responding to what Prime Minister was saying in the first go. It only responded when the Prime Minister started. So it's a different sort of a campaign. It's aggressive in a way, but not aggressive that, it goes after BJP. Why?
Well, to begin with, Naveen Patnaik is basically a governance hero, right? He's very comfortable in the state. He knows that he's not losing. Very, very confident. I mean, he's been there for last 24 years. And, his popularity stays the same. Unfortunately, in the Lok Sabha, where he is not the alternative, right? So therefore, and Prime Minister Modi is, of course, charismatic. So therefore, in the Lok Sabha elections, it's possible that the BJP might end up getting more seats than the BJD. But when it comes to assembly elections, there is no doubt that at least this term, Naveen Patnaik is going to get back. Now, that was an interesting question you asked. Prime Minister this time has been unusually aggressive on the BJD, but Naveen Patnaik has not. And the reason is, one, of course, I think his personality. He's a soft person. He's a man of few words. I remember once a long conclave with him where he was there with us for 4 hours, but he just read out the script and that's it. He was quiet throughout the conclave. He's a man of very few words and very measured tone. And finally, I don't think he ever sees the BJP as a rival party, because when it comes to central aid, when it comes to every issue, he has supported the NDA, although formally he is not part of the NDA. And that is because, one reason I feel is because of the federal level of competition. After all, the main opposition within the state is BJP, not Congress anymore, right? At least not in the last 5 years. So the thing is, if he ends up fiercely attacking BJP, that would just end up breaking the entire informal friendliness that he has with the BJP. He's always been, I have never seen Naveen Patnaik in his long history ever side with the Congress. Remember, he was part of the Vajpayee cabinet, right? Mm-hmm. So he has always been very, very close to the BJP, even before his days of politics. This is Odisha is a typical state. Odias are milder people compared to us, people from the Hindi heartland. It's basically a Buddhist state in many ways. Even though it's a Hindu symbol, but there's a great sort of what I would call,
No, I completely agree with you, Ajit. One of the talks which BJD has, in their narrative is that constitution should be amended and the word ahimsa should be, should become part of it. So ahimsa as a word, you can trace the roots of ahimsa to other theologies, other theologies in Hinduism. Brijesh, to you, the alliance did not take place between BJP and Naveen Babu because Naveen Babu wanted it out, or because BJP felt that the time has come to create themselves as a second principle to BJD?
Well, I think it is Naveen Babu who opted out because, if you remember, for the first few weeks, BJP did not even open any kind of attack, and it was very perplexing for many who saw, the local BJP leaders, led by Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan and others who were there camping, trying to voice their vociferous opposition against what the governance model of BJD. The fact is that the BJP wanted to have an alliance with him because they wanted to maximize the gain as far as Lok Sabha is concerned. And Naveen Babu realized, that this is something which doesn't suit BJD's agenda. He's of all his suave, ultra sophisticated mannerism, his style of speaking, and an interviewer's torture. He's a very pragmatic person, a politician, and he also immediately understands, which political party is going to suit them, and if the situation suits him, he is willing to go to walk the talk. But if the situation doesn't seem which suit the BJD and Naveen Patnaik, he's extremely pragmatic to pull out of it. I think that is what has happened. BJP wanted an alliance with Naveen Patnaik, and that is the reason why till the end, till the formal announcement was made, almost all the leaders were literally on the tenterhooks. Will it happen? Won't it happen? That kind of scenario.
Jayanto, there is another dimension that Odisha is going to vote for both Assembly and Lok Sabha. And in Assembly, the sense you get is it's BJP. But in Lok Sabha, there seems to be some fight. Why is this happening?
Yes, indeed. Before I answer that question, Kartikeya, I'd like to commend you for this interview because he is the right choice, as they say. He is the man to watch. And at the same time, it was a kind of deja vu. You would remember Pyari Mohan Mahapatra. He was also a bureaucrat, and he was also, I think, a principal secretary to Biju Patnaik, that is Naveen Babu's father, who was the chief minister at that time. And after his death, he sort of, because the family also trusted Pyari Babu a lot, so they entrusted Naveen's kind of mentorship, if I can put it that way, into politics through his hand. So what we are seeing is like a kind of a repeat. But it was the same Pyari Babu who kind of made a rebellion, caused a rebellion when Naveen Babu was abroad and he had to rush back. And that is the time he threw out Pyari Babu from his party, who went ahead and floated another party. Anyway, that's history. Now, talking of Assembly and Lok Sabha elections here, yeah, I do agree with you that parliamentary, because see, basically the BJD, that is, I'm talking about Naveen Babu, they are very strong towards the coastal areas, if you see. But if you go inside, that is a little to the west of the state, there you will see that they are not so strong. And that is why Naveen Babu has decided, not the first time, he had done it earlier also, that he will contest from both constituencies, one towards the coast and one towards the west, just to give a kind of satisfaction, of a kind of happiness to the people who may not be with the BJD. So BJP also knows that very well. So in the parliamentary elections, where the local people may think about the personality of Modi, the work that has been done by the center, that may come into play. And especially this part, that is the west of the state, they may go for the BJP. But as far as the assembly elections are concerned, Kartikeya, I think that once again, it will be Naveen Babu. But before I finish, I once again want to repeat that he is the man of the hour, of the time in Odisha, because Naveen Babu himself is something around 77 years old. And as far as I know, that Mr. Pandian, he is around 50 years. So if the mantle comes, the only difference between Pyari Babu, that's why I was speaking about him, is that he was from Odisha. But here, Mr. Pandian is from another state, but he also, like Pyari Babu, is in charge of many of the schemes of the government. And his wife, as far as I know, is also heading a particular department which
But you
looks
know,
after the
Jayanto, there is the difference. Pyari Babu was a mentor. Here, the mentor is Naveen Babu, and he's the successor. And in that difference, there is also another thing. He is being groomed, I think, for last 5 or 6 years into politics. So this brings me, Mr. Bhaumik, to this question. Mr. Bhaumik, no one ever thought that outsiders can become chief ministers, but if you look at MGR, he's not a Tamilian. Jayalalitha was not a Tamilian, but they went on to become chief ministers of Tamil Nadu. Do you think that this insider-outsider business can have a succession problem? Like, for example, ADMK, which, you know, Jayalalitha had no actual successor, it has broken into 2 parts. Do you think that similarly BJD can undergo that motion? Because all the political families have been retired by Naveen Patnaik, the Singhdeos, the Kalikesh, Bharatari Mehtab. They are out of the BJD framework right now. Tathagat, Satpati.
Actually, Naveen Babu has a very strong calculation. This is how he has consolidated his power, by actually putting an end to political dynasties. He is a dynast as well, but he ensured that other dynasts who could be a challenge in different ways are eased out. And people who are known for delivery, people who are known for management skills, you know, as Ajit rightly said, he's a governance hero. That's where he took the focus. Now, this serves 2 purposes. This adds to his image that he's a man who delivers. He's a man who says something and does it. It also ensures that the traditional politicians who sustain their power, you know, through, if I can call it feudalism, political feudalism, that something is put an end to, because he is a modern day politician. And this serves Naveen Babu right in both ways. This helped him consolidate his political base. As far as your question on insider, outsider, well, I have a feeling that Mr. Pandian or such people who have very long been in the state as administrators, seen as very close to the Chief Minister, they cease to become outsider after a point of time, especially if they speak local languages, if they adopt to local customs. So, you know, all kinds of things are possible. And I want to rule out if Pandian really is someone who can deliver, if Pandian is someone who has understood Odisha, if Pandian is someone who speaks the language as well as, actually, you may find him speaking better Odia than Naveen Babu himself, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
So, I'm not sure, but you know, a long-term administrator in a state, it's like the Indian Army. You know, the officer picks up the language of the troops. Same in IAS, they pick up the language.
Fair enough, sir. Fair enough, sir. You know, fair enough. I think you made a strong point. Mr. Jha, do you agree that this outside and insider debate will resonate differently in Odisha?
No, I sort of get this feeling, you know, because I visited Odisha many times. I mean, before Mr. Pandian, there was Balakrishnan, right, who was also very, very powerful. He was running the administration. In fact, if you there was Abhay Kumar, DGP, who from Bihar, from Jharkhand, was also very powerful. So my point is that you know, that story of Pyari Mohan that Jayanto pointed out, that was a backstabbing by an Odia, and therefore Naveen Babu took this step of not relying on Odia officers, but see, political figure, symbolic head, and a bureaucrat, there is a big difference. So I have a feeling the day this will happen, the transition, when Naveen Patnaik will, let's say, bow out for, since, you know, this might be his last term in many ways, then I think there'll be a problem. And there's one more point I want to bring here, and that is, you know, he is a governance man, extraordinary mining transformation, infrastructure, and things of that sort. But there is one big failure in Odisha, and that is the KBK district. You know, it's very well known, right? Kalahandi, Bolangir, those 13 districts, many of them have been recently created. basically tribal areas, as someone pointed out, more towards the hinterland, not in the coastal areas. And I have traveled in that area, and that is really, really bimaru in many ways. If I think sometimes, if BJP were to try someone like Arjun Munda, who is a tribal leader, agriculture minister, very powerful, instead of people like Dharmendra Pradhan or someone like that, I think it might ignite a tribal, revolt, and sort of they might come more towards the BJP, especially given that the president is also from Odisha, right? And so I think that factor has somehow Naveen Babu has not been able to master as he had the rest of the state. So the BJP has, of course, the BJP has massive penetration among the tribals, and that they can use in the future with a solid BJP tribal leader.
Okay, but one thing, but there's one thing, Brijesh, I noticed there, a large section was with BJD, but there was a section of the younger crowd which is looking at BJP. I could feel it.
See, I think, the BJP's biggest game plan is kind of a vulture, it's waiting for Naveen Babu to bow out. And then it's a free fall for everybody. See, successions, politics is a very ruthless business. It's not like, if I'm right now the most powerful person and I handed out my succession chart and I expect, that whether I'm not that active in politics, it is going to be honored by everybody else. That is usually not the case. So I don't know, whether the Kalikesh Singh Devs and the others who are being forced out or right now are not in the inner sanctum sanctorum of Odisha's politics. It will completely change if Naveen Babu bows out of active politics, because he has not been keeping a good health, and that has been talk of the town for many years now. I think there's also a sense of fatigue. Till now he has been able to defeat the fatigue by winning on, he's one of those very ultra interesting politicians, given the fact that, that he comes from a place where, figures talks about themselves, that how he has been able to extricate, 18 point plus percent of the entire population out of poverty matrix, which is higher than any of the states. But I think, the younger generation has started looking towards the BJP, and that is the reason why, if you compare the 14 and the 19, the result speaks for itself.
Okay. Thank you, Subhiji. Thank you, Jayanto. Thank you, Mr. Jha, for joining me. I can only say that my sojourn to Odisha was very limited, but one thing was very, very clear in Odisha, that the politics which Naveen Patnaik has unleashed in last 25 years in Odisha is resting on a very efficient Labharti politics. People have discovered the word Labharti in 2014, especially in metro and other parts of India. But if you look at the way Odisha has been governing itself, Labharti politics has been there in multiple states, from Telangana to Tamil Nadu to Odisha, and it is for this reason the state governments have been very effective in controlling the people who vote for them, because they feel that the life is pretty much easy. But then you always have a generational shift, and this time it's there, it's at the gate. I don't know whether they have opened it or gone inside, cannot say, cannot vouch for it, but then they have arrived. But right now it's advantage Naveen Patnaik. Thank you.
India is expected to sign an agreement to oversee the management of Chabahar port for the next decade, making it New Delhi's first venture into managing a port overseas. According to reports, Shipping Minister Sarbananda Sonowal is travelling to Iran for the signing ceremony. Now, Chabahar is a hub for the international north-south transport corridor, will allow shipping companies